Please.
No
She's on
problem.
holiday. She's on holiday.
She's on holiday. So, no problem. So, David Ndolo, I call upon David Ndolo to introduce the guest of the day.
Thank you very much. So I will go straight ahead to introduce the guest for Power Monday today. Our guest is Alphonce Were. He is a seasoned professional with over 15 years of diverse experience across banking, labor policy, research, education, agribusiness, and academia. He began his career as a high school teacher, then at Akili Holdings Limited, working with community in agribusiness projects before transiting to the corporate world at Standard Chartered Bank, where he served for 7 years in 5 markets: Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Botswana, and Zambia, honing his expertise in payment solutions, financial systems, and corporate operations. Since then, he has worked across NGOs, the private sector, and community organizations, demonstrating a strong commitment to labor rights, social justice, and economic empowerment. He has been involved in writing various policy briefs, research releases, and both local and international conferences as a speaker in Africa and beyond. He is an active citizen. Current roles: researcher at the Center for International Corporate Tax Accountability and Research, CICTAR, Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union, KMPDU, and Public Service International, PSI, focusing on labor issues in the healthcare sector from 2018. Labor Policy Consultant at LAN Africa Solutions Limited, lecturer of Business Planning and Entrepreneurship at Linux Learning Center, Nairobi, director at FIT Digital Masters, Aloma Consultants and LAN Africa Solutions Limited, leadership at Global Engagement, former coordinator of the Global Labor University, GLU, Africa Alumni Network, 2017-2019. He also serves on the International Steering Committee of the Global Labor University. Active governance contributor, having served on multiple secondary school boards of management. Education and thought leadership. Alphonse is an alumnus of University of Nairobi, University of Witwatersrand, WITS, Global Labor University, GLU, Pennsylvania State University, PSU, Berlin School of Economics and Law. His multidisciplinary education underscores his expertise in education, agriculture, labor policy, corporate accountability, and entrepreneurship. On a personal level, Alphonse is a born-again Christian, a husband and father of 4 daughters, balancing his professional rigor with a deep commitment to family and faith. Allow me to introduce, and I have done, Alphonce Were. Thank you so much.
Thank you, David. I'm almost asking which Alphonse is that? But it's fine. So thank you, team. And thank you everyone for making it. I've seen my friends, also my invited, some have already joined. Thank you very much. I think introduction has been done and has been done sufficiently. So I may not go back to that. But if you have a question, you ask. At the end of it, when we'll be having some moments of feedback and conversations. I don't know if are you able to see my screen well?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. So just a minute. Yeah, so what I will be focusing on today is just about work. And what I thought is that we need to to just have a conversation. You know, sometimes when you're called to Power Monday and it's introduced that powerfully from the conversations we had from 7 and how people have been engaged all that far, you may not necessarily go conversation, but you want to be a bit professional. But I want to get a mix of it, because I've always believed that human beings are relational. And so in our relationships, we get more connected when we become more informal, but respectful. So because of that, you'd allow me just to ensure that I use my informal style of doing things, just in the event that I deviate. At least you'd have known the kind of approach I usually have in such a scenario. Yeah, so I just thought I should start by sharing the work, because when you're talking of work, you know, people think of employment, and employment is part of work. Actually, it's formal. We have both formal and informal employment, but it's part of work. Work is generally what you do in the production process, sometimes in producing services and other times in producing goods. So it is ascertained that the human being is a factor of production in the process of production, either as capital or the owner, or as the worker. Now, in this specific session, we are going to share the perspective or the view of the human being as a worker, the one who provides the impetus that makes production process possible. So when we talk of labor, we mean the people, not things. So labor is a person. It's not. Is a person. It's a human being, not a thing. So that sometimes when people say labor, some people think of trade unions. That's organized labor, and particularly when it is informal employment. But labor generally means people in the production process. And so International Labour Organization, ILO, is a very key player in organizing, regulating, and directing matters labor globally. As an institution, it brings the workers together with the governments and the employers. So in the vision of the world had what they called MDGs, which were 2000 to 2015, to guide the world on where the world should go and what are the key things that the world should attain. And after that, a new set of vision, which is now Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, came in. And SDGs was 17. So one of them is called Decent Work Agenda. So in Decent Work Agenda is just to define that the workers are important part of the globe and development. So there is no way out you can have development without workers or without people in the production process. And so we must define the minimum that people should attain when they are in the production process as labor. So this is how the Decent Work Agenda was born. I'm just giving a summary. And so this Decent Work Agenda had 4 pillars. And one of them is employment creation. Then we have rights at work. We have social protection and social dialogue. I will not spend a lot of time on this, but I just thought it's good for you to know that when we talk of employment creation, we are thinking of anytime we are having human beings and human population growing, then we must also be thinking of how will they be productively engaged in production of goods and services. So for that to happen, majority of people must actually get something to do. That's what we are calling either a job or employment or work in general. So that work must remain to be a decent work. So whenever we are creating employment, the opportunity must be a decent work opportunity. So that employment creation as a pillar, it's focusing on promoting those jobs and enterprises that ensure that everyone has access to decent work opportunity. When you think of rights at work, we are we are emphasizing on the importance of respecting everybody and the fundamental principles at work for everybody. People should be free to talk to each other, to form associations of their choice. And if it is for purposes of their own well-being, they should be allowed and free to form to have collective bargaining, where they bargain collectively instead of individually. And every workplace or place of work or world of work should also not have discriminate against some certain type of people based on any ground, whether it is religion, whether it is nationality, whether it is skin color or gender. And so we must know that the rights at work, primarily here, we are talking of the rights to the worker, so that these people who are working have rights that should not be denied and should not be curtailed. Then when people are at work, it is when they are productive, when they have the energy, the ability to produce, but that will rise from when they are younger, it will start going up and it will climax at some point, and beyond that point, they'll start going down. And therefore, it is always believed that people should reach a point and rest so that they allow others to enter into the production process, but then they leave. So that process of leaving, for example, here we call it retirement, but general exit, that when they have exited, they should not become a burden to the society, whether they are children, they are other people, or the government. So there should be social protection such as either gratuity or pension or health care and such things that should be extended to the worker and their dependents or family members. And lastly, social dialogue is just a table where three partners or parties are supposed to meet and discuss what affects work. And these three parties are government, which are regulators, and then the employer, and finally the worker. So we should always promote an environment where they meet, they talk, they cooperate, and they make things work at workplace for everyone. So generally, that's what decent work agenda is all about in brief. But this is a very broad topic, a very broad idea that at your own time you can read about it. Why should you read about it? If you're becoming an employer, there are a lot of things, particularly around social protection and rights, that you will need to know as you create employment. Because when you create employment, it is easier to bring people on board, but then managing them and exiting them is where the challenge will arise. So before you have entry of the people, you need to know what guides these people and how will I manage them lawfully and within the provisions of the legal framework that's available. Now, this discussion today, I want us to focus on 5 things, which I also want to call them pillars. Yeah, but we're thinking of the future of work. But when is the future of work? The future of work is now. The future of work is today. So in 2012, I was in a meeting, and I think we were saying we are creating the skills at work for the future workplace today. So it means that anybody who wants to be relevant must understand the workplace 10 years from today and be ready for that 10 years today. So if you are only traditionally available to do things the way they used to be done, then you will definitely become obsolete or not useful at all. So the focus, number one, is that we are going to focus on the collapse of traditional employment structures. Employment structures in the past used to be what we call factory settings. You go to a specific physical place, either a factory or what you call an office. You have an arrangement on where you sit, how you sit, and how you operate. And that was the structure. So and so is your immediate boss. You actually see them, you know them by face and name, and you can actually even sit together. In the in the introduction today, somebody mentioned in meet and greet. You have a physical touch, but that is collapsing. That is actually collapsing. And out of that collapse, there's rise of a new thing, rise of new structures. Like today is a big number. If you listened to the advisory by Kenya Bankers Association yesterday in Kenya regarding the Sabasaba protests that are likely to be there, is that they gave an advisory to their members and workers who work for their members not to go to work physically at the hotspots or areas that have been marked as hotspots, but they should work remotely, meaning they will be at work, but not in the physical location where the work is supposed to be in the traditional sense of employment. Now, we are also having what you call increased work from home, and also increased or explosion of remote work. Personally, I think I am a victim, and I'm also a beneficiary of remote work, because most of my work nowadays, I do them from home, including this one. Ideally, I would have said we meet somewhere and I train or talk or give this talk physically a meeting, but I'm doing it from the comfort of my house at home. Yeah, and it is very, very effective. It is still working. And so there's platform work, people working digitally, people working online, people working remotely. And that is going to grow because of the increased technology that is facilitating that. And so it's a part of what we need to just have a mention today. The third one is the rise and impact of platform work, the gig economy. Now, people are literally nowadays not working by physically walking to the offices, but people are looking for jobs online, including myself. And I get a lot of it. And whenever I get jobs today, I want to know, are you offering me something that I can do remotely or hybrid, or is it mandatory that I have to travel to town and get to the office and sit and meet people every day? But the more it becomes a gig economy, that means I work on the platforms or digital platforms, the better, because that is where the world has gone. It's already there. Then in the past also, we have had a lot of issues, and I think this is a major discussion point where people look at their papers and they even feel that it's unfair that I have a PhD, I have a master's, I know, I have a degree in this specific field, yet so-and-so who did not even go beyond this level is being given a better promotion, better package, being given the opportunity, and I'm being denied. And the truth of the matter is that may not necessarily be the case, but the issue is that there is a shift. Are we aware of the shift? Are we aware that now when we are being hired or when we are hiring, the person hiring you is not interested on papers, but on what they want done? Are you able to do it? So that they are directly remodeling what used to be there in the initial stages of what is work and the three forms of work, whether it's a profession or an occupation or a vocation. Now, professions are not many. I think they should be around 9 worldwide, and that has not changed. And those ones, you must get the papers first. For example, medical profession, whether you are a pharmacist, dental surgeon, a veterinary doctor, or a general practitioner, medical officer, you will practice that. Or if you're a medical or a nurse, anybody in the fraternity of medicine, you must first get the documents. You must study and finish. Then go through the expected direction. If it is internship, you finish the mandatory internship. When that is done, then you go to the regulatory body and get registered so that you are in good standing and you have a number to indicate that you have finished training in the organization or in the training institution that is certified to train people in that profession. So the professionals, therefore, whether they are accountants, if you did become accounting and somebody did CPAs, you find that the CPA person is a professional, but they become accountants who may have, maybe even they got an A plane or A minus, did become accounting, but the person who got a C plane and they did CPA is a professional. Now, even the professionalism is recognized from the hierarchy of professions, and they say that you cannot be a member of ISPAC, for example, unless you have done the CPS or SCCS and then you go to ISPAC, you get the number, and then you'll be in good standing. Every year you must get CPD points and such things. Now, those are professions. There are very few, and they still hold. But then we have occupations which you only become a professional at the point of philosophy. At the point after masters, if you get a PhD, then you become a professional. If you did agriculture and maybe you mastered in breeding, then you become a professional, a breeding professional, by the virtue of having the PhD in the field. But if you just did a degree in agriculture, you may not necessarily get preferential treatment in some circumstances where somebody is good in agriculture but never got the degree in agriculture. The person might still get an opportunity to do the work because they know what should be done. But now when we need the professional aspect, is we are thinking, are you a philosopher? Have you reached a point of PhD level? And now that is the time we can think of you as a professional in that area. Now, the vocations are things you do, and they are hands-on. And I think people have confused this to think that that is what is called work. If you are an electrician who knows how to do the wiring and all that, that will not replace the engineering degree in electrical and electronics engineering. The electrical and electronics engineering remains a profession because engineering is a profession. And so you can do the work of electricity as a vocational expert, somebody who will actually do the hands-on work. But the technicality of provision of electricity must always remain in the hands of the professional, who is the degree holder, in this case, the electrical engineer. Now, why am I mentioning that? Is because you will find that even if you're a good mason, you must still work in any serious construction under a construction or a civil engineer. And the civil engineer is the one who will be held accountable or responsible if anything in that construction site went wrong. So that's where a profession comes in. And lastly is occupation. Most of us actually have occupations, things that people do, can do, and will do better even without going to school for them. But we go to school so that we get identity. In the past, very many people can remember we used to have the teachers who used to be called UT, the untrained teachers, and some of them used to teach very well. Yeah, but you see, with time now, because of population explosion and such things, now the teachers are all supposed to be trained today. But it's just because of population pressure, not because everybody who was trained can teach well. Now, I've mentioned three things: occupation, vocation, and profession. Now, the shift in hiring priorities, the skills will mainly go to the vocations and occupations. But for professions, the degrees will still be the priority. Otherwise, you will be referred to as a quack. And it is a criminal offense in a profession to be a quack. Now, after this discussion, then our thinking is that we should conclude the day by asking ourselves a question. How do we prepare for the new world of work? The world of work, or the phrase world of work, is what we used to call employment place, or the place of work. It's nowadays called world of work. So the new place of work, the new world of work, how do you prepare for it? I thought that should define us very well. Let's start with the first one. The employment structures in the past have actually collapsed, so that we are no longer thinking of people who are employed permanent jobs. So if you are preparing, always think of this job not just as I have a contract, I have a permanent job, I have a fixed term job. No, there are fewer people who are being employed, and that is going to happen in the many years to come. That very few people will be employed on those terms. And so our mind should also shift. Our mindset should shift, because the nature of job is somebody just have a project, they have a project that they want just to be concluded in 6 months. So why should they employ you for eternity until you retire? So because the model has changed, Now you find that people, instead of hiring you, they will outsource. Yeah, they will outsource. They find that they are a bank, they don't need to be carrying members of staff, so they just outsource transport. Yeah, it's a university, and their main business is to teach, and so, but people will be sick in the university, so they will outsource medical services, and so on and so forth. So when they outsource, they still not need to erode the nature of work or the quality of work, but the outsourcing will simply means that they have the free hand to be commercial, not in the employment relationship, but they go into commercial relationship, which is easier to terminate. So the mind shift should also be in the sense that whether you are the one employing or you are the one being employed, be aware of this and weigh your options before you enter into one, and particularly if you are the one employing. I will not spend a lot of energy on this, but I hope by now you know every employer has reduced the numbers, including the government. And most of the things that we used to call employment, people used to be employed directly to do. Nowadays, they are either you have consultants given the contracts of consultancy and the work is done and dusted, or people are just given short-term contracts. You have a project of 3 years, it is done, it can be renewed upon availability of funds, and it can be extended if the project demands so. So one thing I want us to pick here is majority of us, particularly those who are listening to me, are likely to, in the next 5-10 years, are likely to be looking for jobs where you want to tender. And when you're going to tender, you're competing for a tender so that you become a consultant or a provider of that service. Now, in tendering, there is something we call in labor, we call it the race to the bottom. The race to the bottom is where now the people who are giving you the tender want to give the tender to the lowest bidder. So everybody wants to know how much they should quote so that they are not disadvantaged because of price. So the people bidding always want to bid to be the lowest so that their prices are the lowest. And that is one recipe of chaos because it makes most of the jobs indecent, not decent, particularly when it comes to wages in terms of work, in terms of time you spend at work and such. If you are getting a job of security, which is outsourced, when you get the tender and you discover that you expected to be paying people 20,000, but the budget they have is that they will pay per person 15,000. So the only option you have is that 15,000 is where your profit is, your operating costs are, and then you also need to pay the same security officers that you are going to hire. So you find that if you are given 15,000, you hire a security officer and you pay them 8,000, and yet it's a job that they will have been paid a minimum of 20. And next time you may not take the job because the stress is there, but somebody who will take it will definitely take it at the same price or lower. And that race to the bottom where everybody wants to get the job, and when they get it in the outsourced environment or in a consulting environment, they discover that to do the job, prices must be the main thing to cut. Then that becomes a major disadvantage in work in general, particularly for decent work. What I want us to think through is the safety net of job security is becoming thinner and thinner. And so everybody must think like an entrepreneur. And I'm not saying that everybody should be an entrepreneur, but you must think like an entrepreneur who knows that I will not get the job every day, and therefore whatever I get need to take me through the whole year. So for me, now that I've been in the space of entrepreneurship for a while, I usually expect to get 2 jobs in a year. So if I get one, I ask myself, how long should it last me? But even that one, if possible, it should take me the whole year. So you start thinking cost reduction, effective use of your resources, investment, and such things. And you build your wealth before you can start enjoying the entire wealth. If you enjoy it before you have it, you may never have it. So the work from home, the main challenge that we have in the issue of working from home is that we still have a major digital divide where not everyone has equal access to digital tools and digital skills. And for people like me, this is an opportunity to train people and get money, but also empower them so that they get the opportunity to be better. COVID-19 became the main point where this became a norm. Before it was not a norm, it used to be a luxury or for those who can do it. But today, almost everybody is aware that working from home, doing remote work is the norm because of COVID-19, including this Power Monday from the introduction. COVID-19 became a major impetus for this platform to exist. So the implication of working from home, one is that the shift from time-based supervision to result-based type of work. What are you delivering? That's what we're interested. If you're able to deliver it, that is good. We will give you the job. So that should be very much taken care of. Digital fluency is needed. Now, there's the difference between digital fluency and digital literacy. Digital literacy is just having the knowledge. But when you can adapt, you can solve problems, you can create solutions, yeah, and you can come up with new solutions or new things through digital expertise. That's what we refer to as digital fluency. It is in higher demand. If you're able to use digital knowledge to know how to use Facebook or social media to earn a living or make your company make more money, that is digital fluency. And once you have it, you need discipline, self-discipline, not imposed discipline. Today, again, the trend has been that because people are still adapting, so most of the workplaces have both remote and physical presence at work. So we call that hybrid. So that hybrid is increasing, but it is simply eating away from the physical and increasing the remote. So that we also have remote first companies. And remote first companies are companies that their first priority is to hire people who will work remotely. Many people have called this online work and all that, but they are not necessarily online work. It's the same work, but only that you are having online platform as an office or as a place where you're connecting with your both clients and seniors or other colleagues. Now, the gig economy is rising. The economy digitally, the economy online is rising. Yeah, and it has an impact. So when you talk of the gig economy, by definition, and I define this on how we deliver the work, is that work is delivered through applications and platforms, digital platforms. And it is disruptive. Yeah, in 2016, I did a research in Johannesburg, and we called it Uberization of the economy. And we were studying the Uber and the impact that Uber has brought. So that when Uber came and it became successful and they don't have vehicles, but they are the largest logistics company, then it gave rise to Airbnb. Somebody also felt I can do this in Airbnb. And so they have a big business in real estate, but they don't own any building or land. And then we have rise of things like hotel.com, where anytime you want to go to any hotel and book and all that, booking.com, and you find that booking.com is a big platform that have no hotel, but you book hotels, you book airlines and such using that. So the delivery is on apps and platforms. So the lower end of it is where people do what they call online writing, but online writing also, the writing that we use platforms are also different things. But delivery is on apps and platforms. That is the point. There is no contract most of the time of employment in this economy. And you are paid according to the work you have done. So it's pay per task or per delivery. You deliver, you get paid. And then you compete with everybody on the globe. So those are some of the key features about this gig economy. But what does it mean to you? The impact it has to people is that it has made work decentralized. Yeah. So work is no longer at one place. Work is now scattered everywhere. Then you must brand yourself Yeah, you must do personal branding so that somebody knows, oh, you are good at web design. Oh, you are good in social media marketing. Oh, you are good in this. So you must put your skills known. You must market yourself and market your skills and brand yourself so that your identity, like now when I was coming here, what was going around, he says Alphonce Were is a labor policy consultant. Yeah, that is personal branding and self-marketing. I might be doing other things, but that is what I want to be known about me. So that when that skill is selling, you go say, oh, let me listen to him. Let me go to his session. So it's very important. So on the issue of what employers want today is actually they're interested in what you can deliver, not the papers you have. So unless the job itself requires papers, like people who do consultancies that are technical in nature require maybe people with master's degree in specific fields. So you find that they will hire people with those, but the people who will do the work may not necessarily be the people whose CVs have the degrees. They will work with the people who can do the work, but then when they are sourcing for the work, they use the papers of the people who have the degrees, because the work advert requires those degrees to be presented. Now, there are issues that also due to growth of micro credentials and boot camps. And let me put it this way, that we have what we call online skills that people nowadays, you learn online. The skills that would have taken you forever, a lot of money to learn, you go online and learn. So this has been growing, particularly from the inception of YouTube in 2006. And so as a result, people have gained skills. For example, me, I knew how to design a website because of YouTube, not because of Classroom. And so when you give me a website, I will not give you the papers, but I will do the job. So that issue is proliferation of the fact that skills are increasingly becoming available, even when people have not studied some of these things, is because the digital space have allowed people to develop micro credentials in some of these fields. Now, the key soft and digital skills that are on demand today is one of them is communication, critical thinking, and emotional intelligence. Know how people think, know how people handle issues, know how to deal with people. AI is the in thing today. You must know how to understand the data if you want to go anywhere, that is. And productivity apps. Productivity apps are many, including Word, document, Excel. Particularly Excel is a major productivity app. Yeah. And then how do you do remote collaborations? That means how do you work together remotely? You have one platform, but then you work together. There are platforms that provide such services, and it's important for us to know them. Now, a quick one is we are preparing for this work. So what we need to do, number one, is that we need to have a mindset shift. Don't complain that jobs are not being created. The question is, are you positioning yourself for the available jobs in the shift that we are having? And the first change should be in your mind, so that don't be looking for jobs. Build your capacity to do the work. Number two, brand yourself, stand out, be known, be visible. And that includes online. By the way, I think it is the founder of Microsoft who said, if your business is not online, then you have no business. So brand it, make it visible online. That means have a website, have social media presence, have portfolio, build the visibility. Some of the people who have attended this meeting that I invited is because they saw what I shared online, either on my status or Facebook or WhatsApp or any other place that I shared it. And I know majority of us have seen this online. So you position it, but make it visible online. That's the point. Don't stop learning. Immediately you stop learning, you are overtaken by your competitors. You're only there now waiting to die as a business. So continuously upskill yourself, because the industry you are in is always evolving, is changing with time. And lastly, have multiple income streams. For example, don't be a person who only relies on one thing. So that in the event that that thing goes down, for us who have done training for a while, I've learned that when businesses are slashing their budgets because of hardship, the first thing to be slashed is actually the training budget. Some of the questions you need to explore. How do you monetize your skills online? So first have the skill, then ask yourself, how do you monetize it? And this is something you can explore and have the answers. Then some of you are working, but you want to reskill yourself. How do you reskill yourself? We can also give direction to this. We can walk you through this so that either if you cannot get it yourself, there are people, the institutions, and I am one of those who can walk you through these questions in getting the answers. But ideally is that these are answers that you should do what we call self-discovery. So even if somebody guides you, at the end of it is take responsibility, discover yourself. Then what happens to the traditional professions like law, teaching, and all that? They are going to evolve, they're not going to run away. It is said that between 2025 and 2037, the introduction of AI is going to make 85 million jobs to be lost. The introduction of AI and robotics between 2025 and 2037, that is 12 years, we are going to lose 85,000 jobs because of introduction of AI. However, AI is also going to help us create it's 85 million that is going to be created, but then AI is going to make us create 97 million. So if we lose 85 million and then create a 97 million, then it simply means that whoever will be taking your job is not the AI, but it's your colleague who is AI conversant. So just in addition to what you know, upscale it. Know how the AI and the trend and technology is fusing into your specialization or area of work, so that you're not obsolete, you're not rendered useless, but you become an evolving being. Lastly, how do you prepare youth for this fluid future? We must know that now it's better we help our children, our brothers and sisters to have these skills, because they don't need to be in school to know them. Teach your children at a younger age. I was very happy when I saw my daughter when we sat up to 3 a.m. when they closed school. She was 9. And we were just exploring the AI, and she was telling me how she has discovered some things. And we actually sat, and it was very interesting session. Prepare these children, prepare the younger people so that they are market ready and market available. Thank you. This is my last. The future of work is here with us. So it's not coming, it's already here. The future is now. So establish those skills today. So you need to build the skills by moving from chasing the jobs to building your skills. You need to offer solutions so that you're not seeking employment, but you're offering those solutions. And you need to create value so that instead of being a job seeker, you become a value creator. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Sorry, go on.
No. I was waiting for you to come up. Thank you. I love that. I love this training. I love this talk a lot. Yes.
Any question?
David Ndolo had requested that you go to the previous slide, and the previous slide is that one which you started with, the one which had the circle that was. Yes, that one. Yes, David, that one was it. Good. So you can do screenshot. So there is I can't see any other question. Maybe I would ask, what is your thought on the current learning institutions or higher learning institutions, are they adequately preparing people for the present work environment and the future, or they are preparing us for the past?
I've been in different learning institutions. Let me start from there. In Kenya here, I've been at Tom Mboya Labour College. I've been at University of Nairobi as a learner, that is. Outside, I've been Global Labour University. I've been at Witwatersrand in Johannesburg here. I've been in India. I've been in the US and also in Germany. Yes, there are some institutions of learning that prepare us for the future, but majority of the institutions of learning in Kenya are not doing anything helpful to prepare us for the future. Most of the lecturers we have or trainers are career students. So they have no idea of the actual market. And when you present them the market, they get lost. Majority of our intellectuals today, or what people wanted to be intellectuals, are saying majority, not all, are people who are focused in getting good grades, but not getting what the course was designed to give them. So we have a big problem in our institutions of higher learning. So my view is we need to rethink and restructure. If I had time, or if one day we talk about CBC, I can explore the minds of the founders of CBC in 2000, because this idea was actually generated in 2000, and see how the CBE incorporated the CBC, so that the curriculum, competence-based curriculum, the competencies which are 7 in that curriculum, each of them had a direction to take, and how those competencies are very useful both for the learner and the non-learner. The learner is the person, the pupil or the student, and the non-learner is the parent or the teacher. The CBC is better placed for this, but then both the implementers and us have had a problem in understanding it. In fact, the last 3 days I've been training teachers on how to understand CBC to help themselves, then help learners, then help parents. Because CBC is a bit better, but again, the problem is the political problem in it has overtaken the actual education in it. But the higher education has a big problem in our country today. I don't know if I've answered that.
Yes, you have answered. I've just seen somebody asking, how can we adapt? How can our institutions change to prepare for the future? I believe you've also touched on that, but I think we are also moving towards the end. Lady Noel, you can pick.
OPP, is that a question? What was the last statement before you mentioned me? Was it a question that you're quoting, or what was it? OPP, you muted.
No, there is somebody, Cyrus Mbugwa, who is asking how. I think it's a follow-up to my question. It's how
yes.
how can our institutions change to prepare for the future? So I don't know whether you want to comment on that.
No, let me just make a quick comment on that and the other things I've seen down there. So our institutions may not necessarily change quickly. So I think the fastest, because these things are moving very fast, and the global village is where we stay, is let's focus on having skills training outside formal education. So that if it's virtual, you go to Skillshare, you go to Blueprint. For example, Meta Blueprint, it used to be called Facebook Blueprint, can teach you a lot about Facebook, Instagram, and how to handle that. And then Skillshare is now teaching everything that Google used to teach, because Google Garage has been taken there. And we have other online platforms that can help us a lot. So instead of waiting for class, let's learn how to learn. So that the skill we need to teach now is learning to learn. Once we learn to learn, then accelerate that in your field or your area of interest. Because these things are evolving very fast. Even these institutions will not catch up. Now, that answers both that one and how we adapt to emerging technologies. The issue of coding camps for kids that I can recommend, of course, Moringa comes to my mind very fast, but there are several others. What we need to do is we need to understand that kids have different interests. So what we need to do is just teach them basic learnings. And I want to give very basic recommendation. One, teach people just to understand how to use Excel and PowerPoint. I'm sure I have used PowerPoint, but the things I've put here are my mind. These are not traditional PowerPoint. I have put my own things. Just learn how to make your own PowerPoint. So these kids can learn these things and do better. So when you teach them PowerPoint, then introduce them to YouTube, and then they learn, and then they do it for you. You'll find that paying for YouTube bundles or Wi-Fi will help you better than taking them to school. And when you teach them a small skill, like I taught my children how to operate a computer, then they start knowing how to paint using in that computer, which I didn't know how to do the paint in Word. And so just introduce them and monitor so that they don't go negative, but you allow them to explore. They will definitely surprise you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Maurice Omondi asked you to advise job seekers with what to do with limited jobs available.
Honestly speaking, jobs are not limited. So their mind might be limited, but jobs are not limited. The only issue that formal employment is shrinking. So if that's what they're waiting for, then they are lost. What they should do is ask themselves, if you're a teacher, you can teach online, for example, but there are also institutions that offer platforms online where you teach, either by writing or instructing. They are now doing this instruction. There are places where you do this online and you get paid, but you must look for that space. And then upskill yourself so that apart from the pedagogy that you have and the certificates you have about teaching, you are also aware that now I need to teach people remotely. So what do I need to add in my knowledge? I need to know how to make presentations, how to prepare the presentation and present them. So for me, it is not the issue of jobs are shrinking. The issue is how proactive are you so that you know the skills required. And with the AI, you can actually ask AI, I am this and this. What should I do to prepare myself so that I can get work? Remember our last slide, we are not asking you to be a job seeker. Be a value creator. So if you become a job seeker, you're going to be frustrated for sure. If you're a value creator, it will take time, but then you're likely to get better and faster.
Thank you so much. For the sake of time, we are not going to take any other question. If you have a question, you can just drop it in our WhatsApp group, and then it's going to be tackled by Mr. Alphonse, and then we'll get back to you. So I call upon Dr. Melvin Glimmer to give us a vote of thanks.
He said he's got to drop. He had a client at 8, and so we can probably pick somebody else.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Maurice Omondi, kindly.
Okay, I would like to take this chance, sorry, to really thank our speaker for giving us a lot of inspiration about this topic, starting from the basics about decent work and labor rights from the SDGs, and drilling down to really practicalities about the changing environment, about what we are experiencing now and what we are going to experience in the future. In fact, this has really aligned so much with the realities on the ground. I'm sure this has been a big inspiration to the participants who came. about the new ways of work. And I really thank you, even the way you have handled this last question I asked about advice to people who are don't have a job in the context of less jobs. And you challenged us that it is not really the jobs which have reduced or what we need to change, but it's how we shift our mindsets about work, jobs, employment, occupation, profession. And you also affirmed in the beginning that there are some professions that will always remain professions, like medicine, even law, even teaching, as it were, electrical. And then there are vocations, and that is making use of our hands to bring solutions. So we'd like to thank you so much, our speaker. This has been excellent. In fact, it has exceeded personally my expectations. I'm sure it has exceeded also the expectations of other people. We'd also like to thank you, Lady Noel, for excellent moderation, our poet for the opening poem that you always get, and Paul Peter, and the whole family and the board at Live Your Dream Enterprise for bringing this gem to us, having this on every Monday. Like today, many people are working from home because of the fear about the protest, and yet we have got this chance to attend this program online and get inspired. So I know everybody is thankful, and I request everybody who is online to just write your thank you message there in the chat box, or you can share a clap, online clap, just to thank our speaker and to thank all the organizers and to thank all the participants. So may God bless you all and have a beautiful day. Keep safe. If you have to protest, do it in a way that you don't expose yourself to danger. If you are able, you can also keep safe wherever you are. Others, we pray also for our nation that we may have a peaceful solution to all the challenges that we are facing, and that justice and peace may prevail. Thank you very much, and may God bless you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Maurice Omondi, for that. Asante sana, 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 sana. Why are you laughing? Asante sana. So back to admin. Is Antonia in the house? As she's either muting or
I've not seen her.
Something. I've also not seen her. But just to remind you that the last Saturday of this month, we are going to have our meet and greet. And this time we are not going to JJ McCarthy. We are going to Karen. I'm sure we have seen the flyer in the group. We are going to Karen, and the charges are 2,700 shillings per person. So we encourage you to just to start paying pole pole. You can either pay as a lump sum, or if you can't, you just start paying pole pole. And I am trying to get the flyer so that I can tell us the exact location where it's going to be. OPP, you know the location. Please help me here.
I actually posted here about meet and greet, but it's a place called Azrael, just opposite Queer. I've never been there, but the very same person who used to host us at Langata Botanical Gardens moved there. So it's as so let's be there. I also posted how to make payments for the same, and we hope to see as many of you as possible there. Yeah, in the WhatsApp group, we already posted the flyer.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now, this is something that I'm also going to post in the WhatsApp group. Kindly let us observe the WhatsApp group rules and regulations. I'm also going to post that. Let us not forward anything that does not align with the vision of and the mission of Power Monday. Asanteni sana. And the floor is open.